Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm Risa.
And I'm Ariana.
And we're the Krolmeister sisters. As a reminder, this podcast is rated T for teen for strong language and mature themes.
If you would like a podcast about Nancy Drew, in particular, that doesn't, use mature language or any of that stuff, then, head on over to her very own podcast, Unlocked.
They're cowards, and they don't think Nancy should say fuck.
Those cowards!
And they don't think George is gay.
Okay. Well, is this a thing that they've...
No, I'm just... just saying that we are the brave podcast.
We're the brave podcast. We say what everybody else is thinking.
Exactly.
We're gonna go there.
Yeah, we went there.
Oh, yeah. So where are we going today, sister?
That's very sweet cranberry juice.
But you're pretending it was a rosé.
Yes, but it's very sweet and it hurt my jaw.
I'm sorry, sister.
Today, we are going to pitch you guys 4 new games. These are games that we would love to see made into Nancy Drew games.
Yeah.
So, bear with us, I guess.
Bear with us as we try to pitch these games to you, because...
I think they sound like so much fun. Okay, the first one to me is like the one I've been waiting for my entire life.
Right.
So, the first one, Ariana came up with this one. You get to pitch it.
Okay. One word. Planetarium.
Go on.
Go on. Yeah, because astronomy, fuck yeah.
Yes.
Basically, we just really need this, absolutely need this, I'm sorry.
See, astronomy is one of the fields that's actually incredibly diverse right now. They're trying to make it more diverse. They're trying to open it up hugely to, specifically to women and people of color right now. They're trying to make it a lot more accessible. So, wouldn't it be great if we, made it, put it in a game that's meant for young girls and started introducing them to it at a young age, and maybe they could get as excited about it as we were.
Yeah.
I mean, astronomy is so fucking cool. It's space.
Space is so big.
It's big, and there's so much stuff in it.
So much stuff.
I mean, it's mostly hydrogen, but, still, there's so much stuff to learn. I mean, think about it. First of all, huge Secret of the Scarlet Hand vibes here, because in the planetarium itself, we would have all of these informative displays, right? Of putting all that stuff together, making sure it matches, putting things together so that, constellation displays, stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. Or talking about, different types of, nova, supernova, stuff like that. And then we could also have it maybe be a separate building where you could travel to that's an actual observatory, and you can learn about observational astronomy as well, and learn about different type of telescopes and stuff like that. Because I was fascinated by that kind of stuff when I was a child.
Right.
So I feel like if we made that an accessible thing to learn about for other girls, they might think that's really exciting too.
Yeah. I just feel like the science it's just so necessary. It just is. I keep trying to find words for it. Failing. I especially space science. That's what I'm going to call it. Space science. Yeah, no, it's underutilized. It could be, and there's so many different aspects that they could be, using. Anyway.
Yeah, honestly. And there's just so many things you can teach them. And there's so much to learn in astronomy that you can go over. There's really rudimentary stuff that you can talk about. And, like, you can just talk about constellations and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Or you can also talk about things like, you know, the makeup of the universe. What things are made out of. You can talk about stuff like that. And then you can pull in chemistry and things like that as well. And that's interesting, too. And you're teaching them different things. You can be teaching them physics while you're teaching them other things, too. See?
Yeah.
All of those things. And then we can add in the awesome mystery of there's, like, intellectual theft going on. Yeah. Someone shows up injured, gravely injured, and we have to figure out why it happened. And we have delve into their research notes to figure out what's going on. And what we find is that there's being research theft.
I was gonna say we get into the deeply disturbing world of scholarly papers and shit.
Yeah. So, I think that's, honestly, that's an amazing game in my opinion. And I want it yesterday.
Yeah, right.
But mostly because I love astronomy and we grew up with that kind of stuff. So, and I would have loved a game like that as a kid.
Yeah.
It would have been so much fun.
I feel like we end up having a lot of our game ideas be like STEM oriented. I think that's something that her could definitely do more of. And like I'm not saying that they haven't done out of it. Bit. Yeah.
They make a huge thing out of, like, I mean, their whole thing with, like, codes and clues and everything was about getting girls into STEM. Mm-hmm. But they've never really done much of it in the games, and I feel like they really could.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I mean, the closest there was frickin' whatchamacallit, Creature of Kapu Cave with a certain bug poop. That's really the closest that there was.
I mean, we learn about how elements mix in,
that doesn't count.
Unless you give Castle Malloy.
That's not how anything works.
Because if you accidentally break one of the bottles and expose the element to...
That's not how any of this works. Can we actually have a game where the science means something?
Right.
Though, to be fair, apparently sorting frass was pretty realistic.
Yeah.
According to our friend, who pretty much does that for a living.
Yay.
So, we were informed. That part is actually spot on. Pretty much how you sort bug poop. So, that's our first pitch.
Yeah.
So, planetarium. Second one, my idea, haunted theater. We need an actual theater game. So, none of this. So, final scene, that's more movie theater. That's not a real theater.
Yeah.
They never really do the real theater. And Labyrinth of Lies is an insult. That there's nothing theater about that. I'm sorry. It's disgusting.
It is a game of lies. Because if nothing else, how did they get the stage? All that stuff, like
none of it makes sense. They wasted theater on that game. I am so angry about that game's existence sometimes. Mm-hmm. But I want a real haunted theater, right? Like, I want to go about maybe someone's trying to make this seem haunted, right? So, what we're learning, because all of the games have to have something that we're learning about. Shakespeare, obviously. So, a Shakespeare play is being put on, and we're not going to be, like, kind of Shakespeare learning about, like in Secret of the Old Clock. That was bullshit. That was like, oh, let's learn a few lines from Midsummer Night's Dream. No. We're actually going to be putting on something like Much Ado About Nothing or something like that. Comedy of Errors, Twelfth Night, something. Yeah. Something Much actually interesting. About nothing. Something like that. Right?
We have to actually... One. I'm sorry.
Like, we want to actually be learning about Shakespeare. Learning about the man.
Yeah, absolutely.
The myth, the legend. We want to learn about the plays, actually be gaining information, because these are supposedly educational games. They try to market them as such. So
they do, yeah.
Let's actually put something educational in there. So we're learning about theater. And also, the thing about the theater, a theater as a place, as a setting, is there's a perfect cover for Nancy as the assistant stage manager, because an assistant stage manager just does everything. So that's perfect. That's the perfect place to put Nancy. Because then it's not weird that she's doing everything. The assistant stage manager already does everything.
And we can introduce that little bit of gameplay by having the stage manager talking to her and saying, okay, you're the assistant stage manager, so that means you do, like, basically everything. So
pretty much.
Yeah.
So Nancy has to do things like, she has to sort props, she has to deal with costumes, she has to actually do blocking cues, she has to do spike takes, she has to do lighting stuff. Those are all puzzles. All of those are puzzles that you can do. It's amazing. And so where's the plot? Well, the star of the show is getting sick, there are near accidents, something like that. So who in the supporting cast is doing it? Or who in the backstage?
The crew, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Who in the cast or crew has it out for this person while it's being made to look like it's a ghost?
Yes.
Goes to the theater. Opera ghost. Also, I'm just putting that out there. But, I also want to put in the ghost light, because that's something that really bothered me about Final Scene, is that they didn't have a ghost light on stage.
That
and
is
they really should have.
Deeply upsetting. I mean, I guess it's kind of lit, so I guess that's better than... Guys, it is very important, if you're going to do something about theater, to have a ghost light on stage.
Yeah.
When there's nothing, when all the other lights are off and all that stuff, there has to be a ghost light in the middle of the stage. Otherwise, there's like, it gets bad luck in the theater.
Exactly. And theater people are incredibly superstitious. They're the
very
most superstitious
bunch.
Honestly. And that's fine in Labyrinth of Lies, because it's an open air theater, so you don't need a ghost light in an open air.
No.
But still. That's my haunted theater one.
Yeah.
So again, we want a real theater game, not any of your shitty theater games that you've tried to give us. We don't want your trash.
We don't need this bullshit. This is an insult.
Honestly.
Okay, so moving on from theater, we go into
theater.
I feel like Nancy Drew games are too white collar. Like it's always like, oh, she's interning at a fancy museum. Oh, she's doing it's a lot of rich people problems. I'd like to, move away from that. And so if I'm gonna have to describe my next game in 4 words, it would be truck stop smuggling ring.
I absolutely love this idea. I'm not going to lie. I have to tell you guys that we came up with all 4 of these ideas in succession and did not skip a single one. They were all just gold. So I absolutely love this idea of just Nancy having to go undercover at a truck stop, because that's just...
Yeah. Oh, and she could like have to learn like trucker call signs and shit like that, and she could have to do some of the there could be like logic or just like making meal puzzles for being a waitress as her undercover. But yeah, there could be so much to this, and it'd be great. And I believe what we think, that whatever they're smuggling, it can't be like anything like that would be an actual major story, but let's Nancy Drew it a bit. And so it's like
it can't be cocaine,
right?
Obviously, it's a children's game. They're not smuggling heroin.
Nancy picks up. Yep, that's pure.
Obviously, it can't be that. We're not thinking that it's just.
It's not like people trafficking. It's not. It's fine. It's
something like Cocoa Kringles.
Yes,
counterfeit Cocoa Kringles.
Smuggling counterfeit Cocoa Kringles or just Krolmeister products, and like maybe PG Krolmeister brings us in to do it, but we sort of realize that it's not really him; it's hurting.
Yeah,
because it's
like
as Risa put in the notes, capitalism is the bad guy all along.
I mean, it has to be, because I don't want to be protecting the interests of the ruling class as Nancy. So it's more like someone has been, like, the actual things that are being sold have been going missing, and now these counterfeits are being sold at a hiked up price.
Yeah. Kind
of a thing. So things are being exploited in that way, instead of, like, counterfeits being sold at a cheaper price, or the things that are being sold at the cheaper price are, shoddy and are causing people harm, that kind of thing, you know, something like that. So, like that. I like the idea of, what are we learning in this one? Well, we want to learn the history of something, so the history of diners, the history of just the occupation of being a trucker, stuff like that, which is all very interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And depending on where you set it, it can also have everything to do with talking about the economy of the area. Exactly. And I was thinking it would be really interesting if it was set in somewhere in Appalachia or something. Yeah. So you could learn, because a lot of places like there, where it was originally like a mining area, where then people had to, once all the mines started getting shut down, they had to find their income elsewhere. So they ended up signing on to like trucking companies that were predatory in the way that they had you sign up for the contracts. So then basically you're paying them to work for them. And so it's that kind of stuff. Yeah. And that could be the reason why someone is trying to make extra money by smuggling. Yeah. So, we
could definitely, have a kind of sympathetic bad guy where we're like, okay, we can see why you made that choice. But we have the moral of the story being that doesn't have to be the choice you make. If you're faced with this, that doesn't have to be the choice you make.
Exactly. See? We're just teaching about all this.
Yeah.
All this shit.
We're just doing some good.
I like that one. I just like the idea of Nancy, like, we have this full-on just truck stop uniform. Yeah. And we have to, we have, like, regulars we talk to. Yeah. And I like the idea of it being, like, the difference between, like, having to seat people instead of it just being filling orders, but having to, like, do sometimes being the hostess and sometimes being the cook kind of a thing.
Diner Dash.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Something more like that instead of just being like, okay, I'm putting together burgers. Something more, having to think about it logically and getting things
can't let the grilled cheese burn.
God, I hate that. Something more like that. Something more involved. That's my idea, at least.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that.
I like it a lot.
I like the idea of Nancy being a diner waitress.
Right?
Especially just, can you imagine calling her dad on that one, too? Calling Carson.
And you're doing like, what?
Pretty much. But yeah. So, that was Nancy, truck stop, smuggling ring. So...
Truck stop smuggling ring.
Awesome. So my last one that I proposed, Nickerson family crime.
Bum, bum, bum.
So it's a crime that happens inside Ned's family that Nancy is having to solve before the police get involved, basically. So I was reading up on Ned and his family. So in some of the actual book canon, his dad owns a newspaper that he works at sometimes. So I'm thinking, stay with me here. First of all, newspaper, it's there, printed newspapers aren't doing well right now, obviously. So his dad's having some financial trouble with it. Maybe. Right? We're having some issues right now with that. So it's kind of fishy when suddenly a lot of people who have subscriptions to the newspaper company are having their credit card information stolen. And it's starting to look like all of the people have in common are that they have their subscription with the newspaper, the River Heights Bugle. So only really people who are left working at the newspaper are people in the Nickerson family, right? So it has to be someone in the family who's involved and who's doing it. Really. So we have to figure out who's doing it before someone else kind of figures it out and goes to the police. Right? So along the way, we can learn about newspapers, how they work, what goes into doing stuff. We help his dad lay out pages, logic puzzles. Mm-hmm. We learn about the history of newspapers and the printing press, stuff like that. But we get to meet all of Ned's family, and we get to know them. And I say, Mom, Dad, Grandma, cousin, vodka aunt.
I was reading that in the notes, and that's why I was cracking up a few minutes ago. I got to the vodka aunt, and I lost it.
And I want all of that. And what I really want is for Nancy to just be treating this like any other case. And for Ned to be like, Nancy, you can't be treating my family like this. This is unacceptable behavior. And she's like, Ned, I can't go on them any lighter than this. I have to treat them like any other case. Otherwise it won't get solved.
You made my pop cry.
I mean, something like that, right? But then she has to be like, I'll solve this, it's better if I do this than if it gets out to the, to the press, the press not stealing people's credit card information.
Yeah.
I just love the idea of it being close to home. And
yeah,
in this one, I also like the idea of it being we're in River Heights. Or
is it weird that in my brain the entire time we have been planning it out, that I keep seeing it as they're all there for Christmas time?
I was seeing it as Thanksgiving.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I don't know, seeing everybody in sweaters and being, and that's
And I was thinking definitely it's we're staying with his family. Mm-hmm. And we have a guest room and everything, obviously, because it's it's a children's game. We can't be sleeping in the same bedroom as our boyfriend, our long-term boyfriend. But we're staying there, and I like the idea of being able to switch between and be Ned, because Ned can do certain things that we can't.
Yeah.
I like that idea, in my opinion. But that's because I'm pitching this game, so if I didn't like the idea, it would be a little silly for me to pitch it.
Yeah.
Just a little.
It's just kind of an empty pitch, then.
Yeah. I think that'd be really interesting. If not Ned's family, at least someone's family. Because you could do something really similar with, Bess and George's family as well. But I don't think it'd be as fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ned is so, goody-goody two-shoes.
Yeah.
that it's a good tension between them then.
Definitely, yeah.
To me, at least. I don't know. So, out of all four of those, I think... Because we learn something in every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is science. The rest are history, though. So even we aren't doing well on the STEM aspect, sister.
Well, I mean, at least we've had in the last 8 games that we have pitched, we've had 2 or 3. I feel like there was another one last time that was partially
we
sciencey.
talked about the sustainable energy one with Costa Rica.
It was that, and then
that one was just that one was sciencey.
Yeah, was it just that one that was?
I think so.
Okay, well then, of our 8 games that we've pitched, 2 have been
a quarter of them. Yeah,
Let's,
that's way better. Like, yeah, 1 out of 4?
Yeah.
Get
That's
on our
pretty
level.
damn good.
So, that is, those are our game pitches.
Yeah.
Do you want to do any, like, quick fire ones, or?
No. I want to
No?
build some. I want to, like, I want to keep them so that we can keep doing this, because
I know, this is really fun. I
Yeah.
really enjoy these.
I like designing these games.
I know. It's like, excuse me, please hire me
Right?
for interactive.
I'm like,
But,
pretty good at this,
yeah. But yeah. So, those were our 4 games. If you guys think that you have any other games you'd like to pitch, let us hear them. We're always interested.
Yeah, don't just criticize our games and then, like, not put your own games out there. Like, come on, man.
Yes, please tell us your ideas. I want to hear them. I want to hear everyone's game ideas.
Yeah.
Honestly, that would be so much fun. But let us know on any of our social media. So we have our Twitter, our Tumblr, our YouTube, our SoundCloud, or here at our Twitch. You can always come and talk to us here. You can always subscribe to our Twitch to get access to our cute little wine glass emotes. Or if you would prefer, you can buy us a digital coffee on our Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/Krolmeister sisters. That was hard to say for a second. Krolmeister sisters. Sometimes I have issues, okay? Just sometimes. So, as a reminder, I'm Risa.
And I'm Ariana.
And we're the Krolmeister sisters. And as always, we're reminding you guys to stay sleuthy.